Putin and Russia don't have a veto over what free and independent nations can choose for themselves. It's time he understood that and got over both his history and the greater history that has kept him imprisoned and kept Russia poor, an extractive commodity market that could do so much more on behalf of its own people. So you and I have a disagreement.
I was very impressed with the Dean's analysis of how one should look with empathy and look at the other side. And then I saw in the discussion of Russia absolutely the opposite. I didn't hear anybody talk about Kissinger and Kennan talking about not moving NATO 1 inch to the east. The 2014 American-sponsored coup that threw out an elected Ukraine head of government because he was too pro-Russian. The new government bombing the Russian speakers for 8 years. And then Ambassador, Sullivan's utter misstatement of Putin, who said that let me finish, that the Soviet Union, anybody that wanted it, that talked about it being collapsed, that it was a tragedy, but anybody that wanted to have it come back had no brain. Why did you not talk about any of these facts and instead of that do a lot of armchair psychologizing about Putin and his motives?
Okay, thank you very much. Who would like to respond to that?
Well, I will. First of all, I reject the premise of your question. I think you have gone into a lot of misstatements. I don't agree at all about lack of empathy and understanding. You know, both John and I have spent a lot of time with Putin trying to understand, and what we finally understood is that he wants to destroy the West and destroy the United States. And you may disagree with that. You may have a more benevolent view of what he did, invading, first of all, making up Chechen war, invading Georgia, invading Ukraine twice, threatening his neighbors, being Assad's air force. I could go on and on. So you have your view. I do not think it is the view supported by history, and certainly not the view of what we're seeing today. I would commend to you, if you're willing to read it, a recent study out of the University of Munich talking about what if Putin could win. Because there's no doubt with his latest drone activity and what he's trying to do to intimidate everybody from Poland to Romania to Denmark to Italy, he is sending a message that you had better back off from supporting Ukraine, a free and independent country that has every right to chart its own sovereign future, just like Poland did joining NATO, just like Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania did joining NATO. Putin and Russia don't have a veto over what free and independent nations can choose for themselves. It's time he understood that and got over both his history and the greater history that has kept him imprisoned and kept Russia poor, an extractive commodity market that could do so much more on behalf of its own people. So you and I have a disagreement. That agent told the Israelis the Egyptians are going to invade. And the Israelis said, that's ridiculous. They have no air force of any, no, they're not going to invade. Discounted it, underestimated, did not see the enemy as the enemy saw themselves. So with October 7th, there is no doubt that there was a massive intelligence and leadership failure in Israel. And maybe someday, if the war finally stops, we will find out what it was. And just like Golda Meir resigned 6 months after the Yom Kippur War, after that it was resolved, and was held accountable along with her military leadership, somebody needs to be held accountable in Israel as well. But that can't happen until it stops, which, is hopefully going to happen soon. So I think that in real time, those two examples, from my perspective, were very big surprises.
So how about a couple of questions from this side for a change? How about way back there? Yeah, you're up. Just identify yourself. Speaking to the mic.
Hi, Daniel Dresner, the Fletcher School at Tufts University. Looking forward to finishing your book, and thank you all for contributing to it. There's an underlying premise in your book, which is it's a question of how policymakers or thinkers take intelligence information or threat assessments and perceive them or misperceive them. But the implicit assumption is that there is actually some intelligence that they're looking at, that there's reasonably quality data that they can analyze. And I'm looking at the federal government now and the denuding of INR at state, the elimination of the Office of Net Assessment at DOD, the elimination of the Global Trends exercise. So to push you a little bit, what happens if there is no intelligence or raw data to analyze? What do policymakers do then?
Well, I think we're seeing it. I think, Daniel, it's a great and really important question, and obviously we know it applies to, unemployment figures and the Bureau of Labor Statistics and their reporting. We know it applies to health data. I mean, if you are a government that wants to impose your will on the people, you have to control the information environment. And you don't want too many facts or too much data out there that would contradict what you are attempting to achieve. And so in the foreign policy intelligence arena, I think we're going to see a lot more decision making based on gut and emotion, a lot more ideologically driven decision making. Maduro's a bad guy. We can get rid of him. That's good for everybody. No real thinking through, no real intelligence about what that means or how you would even go about doing it. So I think this is all part of the game plan. Deprive people of information and they will be much less able to contradict you or argue against you, because what's the basis for their position? They don't have it.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.